Hello and welcome. This is Kristin Larsen, Transformational Health Coaching. I just want to thank you for joining me. If you're with me tonight for this topic of part 1 of 5 on the topic of letting go. So before I start talking about this topic, I just want to set the space for this topic. And I would like to say that this is non-judging, and I would like to be supportive as we discuss this topic because it can be a very sensitive topic that we're discussing. And in saying that, I just want to set the space for that and know that this is non-judgment, and it's about curiosity and exploring the topic. So I hope that we can establish that and that everyone's comfortable as I'm discussing this, and I will be vulnerable and discuss experiences that I've had in regards to letting go. And if I can share those and help you in any way, I hope that that can be accomplished doing that. So as we start discussing letting go, I'd like to kind of touch on what does it mean to let go? And for me, that meant letting go of suffering that I was holding on to. It meant changing some beliefs that I had that were not serving me anymore, and exchanging them with new beliefs that serve me in an empowered way to help me function in my life in the way that I want. So why is it so hard to let go? And I believe from my own personal experiences, one of the things is when we try and change our beliefs that we have that we're holding on to, it can be the most difficult thing just because that's what we formed our reality around. That's what we know. And especially if it's things that are that we feel that are causing us suffering or pain, we're creating that stability in our life that we're trying to stabilize whatever it is that we're going through at the time. And when we have that stabilized, we that's what we know, and that's the reality that we're in, and we don't want to disrupt that because we've kind of found a place of comfort. And one thing that I'll mention is that when one of 3 things are disrupted in our life, which are love, safety, and belonging, when one of those 3 things are threatened, kind of a panic mode. And I've talked about my past experiences with anxiety and depression, and I believe that in my life, it started off very early in my kind of later childhood. And I went through all different things. I went through low self-esteem. I went through low self-worth, never feeling like I was enough, insecurities, low self-confidence, perfection, self-judgment. I went through many different things, and I've had to do a lot of letting go throughout my life. And just like everyone else, they went through their own experiences, but it's things that I've really held on to, and it's disrupted different parts of my life. And I look at them now, when I look back, they were all learning experiences, and they're things that I've grown from. But it was difficult to get to the point to understand and to really have the courage to let go of those things. So I just want to invite you to explore this topic with curiosity, and I would like to help you to have the courage to look at some of the things that you might be holding on to that you want to let go of in your life. And as a male, for me, going through anxiety and depression, I found it to be a very difficult time because, first of all, I thought that, there's something wrong with me. And looking at everyone else seemed so normal to me, and I couldn't comprehend why everyone seemed so normal, and I felt so destructed inside. And I started comparing, and that's one thing that's it's never good, is to compare ourselves to other people. And so I started comparing myself I just froze there. I apologize, having internet difficulty. So I started comparing myself, and it was a difficult time. As a male, I felt it was difficult for me to share my emotions, and so that was what I held on to, was my ego and wanting to be strong, but feeling so weak inside because I felt helpless. So for me to be vulnerable and share what was going on, that means that I had to let go of that feeling of being a masculine man and being strong. And if I were to let go of that, what else would I have left? When I felt like I wasn't enough and I didn't feel worthy, I had low self-esteem. So for me to let go of that, that would have been very devastating. And that is another thing why it's so hard for us to let go, is that the uncertainty, and I'll say that again because I don't think I said it properly, uncertainty, and being in an unfamiliar place, it's scary, and you feel alone, and I worried about judgment, not only my self-judgment, but judgment of others. What are they going to think of me when I'm not able to portray the person that I want to be? I'm not able to step into that. So I'd like to share one way that can help us move forward to letting go, and that's to step back. And if we step back and look at the situation and try and look at it from a different perspective, it often infuses a new way of how we're viewing things, instead of being stuck in that reality that we think it is. And the example I'd like to give is, when we're a kid, we only know the reality that we're in. But when we're growing as adults, if you've ever traveled, you realize that there's a whole new world out there. It's a whole new reality. And we know that there's a whole new perspective out there, but we're just so caught up in what we're, I guess, what we're in at the moment. So if we step back, and the other thing is to give ourselves self-compassion. This is one thing that I live by this now, is just to step back and give myself self-compassion, and just to know that whatever moment I'm in, it's okay. And just to acknowledge that it's okay to be in that moment. And I just want to share that with you, because most times that's something that we find very difficult to embrace, that self-compassion. So as I'm being vulnerable with this, it's been definitely a process for me, and that's what letting go is. It's a process. It's a process of kind of going through the steps, and it doesn't even have to be in the right order, because we're all at different places in our lives, and it's okay. Just having the awareness when these moments come up, and just being aware of when it's happening, and then we're able to take a step back and adjust and acknowledge. And I will share, that's another great thing, is acknowledging. Just acknowledging that we're having this, that it's okay, and that we're aware of it, and then we can take that step back and start assessing the situation and start changing it. And one of the things that I had to do was change the story that I was living. And I was going to start discussing this in later sessions, but we construct this story from our beliefs, depending either when we're a child or whenever some particular situation happens, and we just keep constructing a story thinking that it's our reality, when in fact it's not. We have the choice to change that story, and when we're able to start changing that story, we can start changing the beliefs around it as well. So I would like to focus on shame and guilt. I'm gonna each topic I'm gonna focus on a new topic around letting go, and this one I'm focusing on shame and guilt. And I've already discussed going through anxiety and depression. I really faced a lot of shame and guilt that I felt inside that I wasn't able to let go. And I started to feel guilty because I couldn't be that person that I wanted to be. And I felt shame because I couldn't express myself, right? I felt that I couldn't express myself and share that with others, or even ask for help, or share my emotions or feelings. And it started to really eat me up inside. So I think that's one of the most important things with whatever it is that we want to let go of, to have that awareness and know that there's no shame or guilt that we need to feel associated with that. And once we're able to acknowledge that, that's a major first step that we can take in regards to letting go. Because we've just taken that step back to acknowledge and have that awareness. And then we can take the next step. And that next step is something that I will share in the next topic. And just knowing that we're accountable and that we have the choice. We can make that choice to let go and keep going in the process along the way to let go. So I'd like to ask you what it is that you want. Is there something that you want to let go of? And what will having that do for you? What's it costing you in your life right now to hold on to whatever it is that you're holding on to? Future topics that I'm going to discuss are insecurity, self-doubt, worry, self-judgment, perfection, forgiveness. I'm sure I'm forgetting another one, but there's some topics that I'm planning on discussing, and I'd like to help you move along. And like I said, it's a process and it takes time. It took me a very long time because I wasn't aware of the process, the steps. And to be honest, I wasn't giving myself accountability or holding myself as capable. Because when we're able to do that, then we're giving ourselves permission to take the next step. So I just want to leave you with this. What is it that you want? Start creating that vision of what it is that you want. Stop focusing on what you don't have. Start focusing on what it is that you want. Because once we have that vision and you start making the steps, then you can start taking those steps towards what it is that you want. And ask yourself, what will having that do for you? What will that do for you in your life? So I believe my next topic I will be discussing will be on next Friday. I'm not sure what date that is. Check your calendars. I'll mark it actually in the video here. But those are some pretty deep things that I'd love for you to think about and to start creating that vision of what is it that you want. And just remember that this is a process, and you can go back to your current thought process, whatever that is right now. You can go back to that whenever you want. We're just exploring this with curiosity. And if you get to the point where you want to have the courage to take another step and let go, then I'm celebrating you for that, and I'm honoring you for that, and I'm always here for support. So one other thing that I'd love to mention is that I have a private support group that I will post in this comments under the video as well. And if you would like to join that, I'm always trying to help people on their journey and encourage them for whatever steps that they're taking. And I'd love for you to join this private group where I can help you on that journey. So I wish you a wonderful day. And if you're watching this, thank you so much for watching this. I'm so grateful. Have a wonderful day. Take care.